Hello, everyone, and welcome again to our keynote session with Mayor Patrick Brown. Patrick Brown has been an ardent advocate for municipal growth and innovation over the past 2 years of his mayoral term. He represents the city of Brampton, which, for those of you who are not that familiar with the Ontario geography, is a city located just outside of the growing global hub of Toronto. Mayor Brown has held his post since 2018, and it's really our pleasure to welcome him here today because he does represent one of the country's fastest growing hubs of innovation and urban density. Situated as it is around Toronto and the greater Toronto and Hamilton areas, Brampton has really put itself forward in recent years as an innovator in transit technology integration. Before his time as mayor in the city of Brampton, Mayor Brown has been a representative at the federal and provincial levels as well. He was a member of provincial parliament for the riding of Simcoe North, and he was previously the leader of the Progressive Conservative Party of Ontario, which was Ontario's official opposition for several years. Now, Mayor Brown also oversees, of course, Brampton Transit, which, for those of you who are not as familiar with the transit associations and agencies in the Ontario jurisdiction, represents an agency that is robust and growing, has over 450 conventional and rapid transit way buses. It has 5 rapid transit way routes, and it is, of course, to our great pride at CUTRIC, the home of the biggest interoperability deployment trial in Canada, and I believe in North America, in fact. They have 8 electric buses and 4 overhead charging systems that will be deployed this year to prove out the full interoperability and standardization of electric buses. So that's in the city of Brampton, led by Mayor Patrick Brown, and it's with my great pleasure, Your Worship, to welcome you here to the conference. I'll now pass the virtual microphone over to you so that we can hear your insights on how this city is going to grow and overcome not only the pandemic situation, but the need for greater urban mobility in growing cities around the world.
Hello, I'm Patrick Brown, Mayor of the City of Brampton, and I'm so pleased to be participating virtually with you at this CUTRIC Digital Low Carbon and Smart Mobility Technology Conference. I'd like to thank Dr. Petronic for the invitation to participate. I thought I'd first share some remarks about Brampton Transit's participation in the electric bus trial. Secondly, I will answer some specific questions about transit and moving through COVID-19 and working with other levels of government in a collaborative manner to make sure we ensure electoral mobility. And there's some really exciting things happening in Brampton. The City of Brampton and Brampton Transit has been participating with the Canadian Urban Transit Research and Innovation Consortium, CUTRIC, to deliver on implementing Phase 1 of the Pan-Canadian Battery Electric Bus Demonstration and Integration Trial. We actually had Minister Catherine McKenna here for our launch about a year ago. Brampton Transit continues to gain valuable knowledge and experience through the participation in this trial, and we're so honored to be a trailblazer in this environmental initiative. The operation of a fully electric fleet aligns with the sustainable growth initiative of Brampton Transit, our current term of council priority of Brampton being a green city, and the city's environmental commitments established through the city's climate emergency declaration in June of 2019. We want to be a green city, and it can't just be talk. We have to reflect this in our actions, and obviously transit is a big part of that climate change plan. Based on preliminary modeling completed by CUTRIC and the National Research Council of Canada for Brampton Transit's Phase 1 trial, it is estimated that each battery electric bus could result in diesel fuel and maintenance cost savings of approximately $50,000 per year per bus. That's $50,000 per year per bus. This would translate up to $400,000 per year based on 8 battery electric buses purchased for Phase 1, totaling an estimated of over $7 million in savings over the life of a bus. $7 million over the life of a bus. Greenhouse gas emissions will be reduced with each battery electric bus put into service, saving an estimated average of approximately 235 tons of CO2 emissions per year per bus. This translates to approximately 2K of tons per year based on 8 electric buses, and we're only going to scale that up, and upwards of 33K tons over 18 years. In comparison, 33K tons of CO2 emissions would be the equivalent of approximately 1,571 loaded cement trucks or 162 Statue of Liberties. So it makes a big difference. This is a significant environmental contribution. As the introduction of the electric buses into our existing fleet is new to the Canadian transit industry, we will be closely monitoring the impact of this new propulsion technology and the useful life of the electric buses. So we are watching all of this very carefully, and our Transit Commissioner, Alex, is doing a phenomenal job keeping an eye on it. All of the above impacts will be reviewed throughout and further reported on by the end of the Phase 1 trial, which is 2023. The new e-buses are a testament to our council's commitment to reducing our carbon footprint and building a green city. It's something we take seriously as we focus on building a city for future generations. I don't forget that it was Bill Davis, a former Premier of Ontario and a Brampton resident, who first created the Ministry of the Environment. So caring about the environment is in our DNA in Brampton. Additional funding commitments from the provincial and federal governments are needed for the purpose of electrification for facilities, on-street infrastructure requirements, e-buses, and network electrification simulation analysis. And we're hoping to get the provincial and federal participation in those aspects of this project. Brampton's future in operating a fully electric fleet aligns with the Sustainable Growth Initiative of Brampton Transit and the city's environmental commitments established through our Climate Emergency Declaration. And like I said earlier, we don't want to just make a declaration and not follow it. For us to achieve our declaration, these are some of the tangible actions that we need to embark upon to make sure we are honoring the words and the commitment we made. And so I have to say, I hope Brampton Transit's work here is a model for others to follow. And I have to say, given that we're in the middle of this COVID-19 pandemic, how proud I am of Brampton Transit. They've taken on enhanced risk. We've had 5 transit operators test positive, and we're trying to support these frontline heroes. They go into work every day knowing they face a greater risk, but they're essential. Right now, Brampton has the food processing center of the country. We help fill the grocery stores in Canada. We have many of the medical laboratories that serve Ontario. And these key essential workplaces could not function without public transit. And that's why I want to thank Brampton Transit for how they've been able to maintain public transit, the risks they've taken for the greater good of the country. And we're trying to help, whether it's rear boarding, making sure that we have separated glass for the operators, mandatory masks, which we're bringing into effect on July 2nd for Brampton Transit. We're trying to be on the forefront of safety and maintaining this critical service. So for all of those in transit watching this virtual conference, I just want to say thank you for your commitment to public transit, and thank you for this opportunity to participate today. Brampton, along with the rest of the region of Peel, has been identified as a COVID-19 hotspot by Ontario Public Health, actually throughout the GTA. And with that, we understand we have a responsibility to do everything we can to protect the safety of our riders and our operators. Dr. Barbara Yaff, Associate Medical Officer Health of the Province of Ontario, recommends the 2-meter physical distancing limit on transit. And if that's not possible, she strongly encourages people to wear facial coverings. So we've gone further in Brampton. We've actually made wearing coverings mandatory. The safety and well-being of our transit customers and employees is paramount. We understand this is an essential service, but we do not want anyone getting sick, and we understand the greater spread of the virus in the GTA. Making masks mandatory is an important step, and I know Ottawa Transit's been doing the same thing. It simply makes sense. It helps protect our riders. It helps protect our operators. Governments need to work together and recognize the importance that public transit plays in economic development, ensuring cities remain thriving. Canada can't function without public transit. We've become reliant on it, and that's why we need to ensure that it is sustainable and supported during this pandemic. The future will be ever changing, and what we're doing now may not be what we need to do in the future, but we're learning it's difficult to say what a post-COVID-19 world will look like. And I know that whatever it will be, we will all need to work together and make decisions. And all levels of government are going to have to be part of the solution. One concern I have is public transit is funded by municipalities, and the provincial and federal governments are going to have to step up to the plate. You have every city in Canada bleeding money on transit right now, which is an essential requirement for Canada. Canada depends on it, whether it's food processing, whether it is the medical laboratories. This is a service that is required, and so I do hope we're going to see a collaborative approach in the months ahead. Brampton is a green city, and Brampton Transit is a leader in sustainable transportation. We're proud of that. Despite the COVID-19 crisis, the city remains hard at work and on track to deliver on two key projects related to the electrification of transit. First, the CUTRIC Pan-Canadian Battery Electric Bus Demonstration and Integration Trial. Brampton is set to become the global largest deployment fully interoperable battery electric bus and high-powered overhead on-street chargers, and we're proud of that. We're proud of being this pilot project for the world to see. And secondly, we are continuing preparations for the design, build, construction of a brand new third transit facility in Brampton, which when completed will house approximately 440 buses, and we want that to be electrified as well. This proposed new facility will begin construction in 2022 and phase one completed by 2024. Our goal is to construct a facility so that it will be able to support a fully electric fleet. And boy, would that be beautiful to see Canada have. And it can happen in Brampton. You know, some municipalities, their transit system is already built. Because we're a growing system, we have the opportunities to build this at the ground level first. And there's actually a lot of interest in it. I even had Ryan Reynolds, the famous Canadian actor, reach out to me saying that he was impressed what we were doing on the electrification of Brampton buses, which is pretty cool. So I want to say to all those working on this project for Brampton, thank you, and you have a city council and a mayor that is completely behind you. Well, the city of Brampton depends on other levels of government contributing, whether it is our rapid bus transit on the Queen Street corridor, whether it's the extension phase 2 of the LRT. This is not going to be possible unless we have provincial and federal participation. Our electric buses, and they're getting support right now from the federal government, and we have significant aspirations for transit in Brampton, and on a per capita level, we haven't seen the level of investment that would be consistent with our population. And so I am going to be pushing the federal and provincial governments to step up to the plate and say, one, they're committed to public transit on a fair per capita basis, so that Brampton would have the same funding as other communities, but also recognizing that we have a transit system uniquely ready to go green, and they should be enthusiastic supporters of this. So yeah, the city of Brampton is depending on the province to step up when it comes to LRT, step up when it comes to rapid bus transit, and step up when it comes to electrification of our buses. We want partners in the provincial government.